on the various platforms. Good afternoon and welcome to the Innovative Democratic Alliance press conference for today, July 30th, 2024. I am Kate Trotman, and today I am joined by the political leader of the IDA, Dr. Denise Oyefat-Angus, and IDA member, Ms. Stacey Herbert, and we will be addressing a range of issues with you today. We will take a look at the Forex crisis and give you the IDA's perspective on the issue. We will examine Tobago's agricultural sector from the perspective of developing a sector that works. We will address the crime issue, and particularly looking at the issue that it takes more than the moving of ministers to get a handle on crime. We would also take a look at the hit and miss approaches that we have been adopting as we celebrate our many icons here in Tobago. And then finally, we will give you a little insight on what's on the agenda for the IDA going forward. But let me start off, and after that we will open up the floor for any sort of discussion at key points along the presentations. But let me start off by looking at the whole Forex crisis and sharing with you the IDA's perspective, and especially since it centers on capitalizing, I should say, on the hidden opportunities that this crisis presents for us. As the Tobago economy continues to struggle, we are faced with the additional challenge of banks decreasing the limit of foreign exchange available to customers. This dwindling access to foreign exchange handicaps the private sector's ability to expand, especially the non-oil sector, which requires inputs that are usually imported to drive the production process. But to effectively address the Forex crisis, especially from Tobago's perspective, we must understand the nature of the crisis. Tobago's foreign exchange crisis is rooted in our long-standing dependence on imports and the lack of a robust export economy. This imbalance has left us vulnerable to external shocks and has stifled our growth potential. In fact, our Forex challenge reveals the structural problem built into the very DNA of the Tobago economy, for which a solution is not a short-term fix. But while the situation is indeed dire, the crisis is a clarion call for Tobago to rethink and rebuild our society by leveraging our unique strengths to forge a sustainable, prosperous, and self-reliant Tobago. To ensure that transformation occurs, the IDA is proposing a four-pronged strategy focusing on education reforms, the production of high-quality exportable capital services and products in key sectors like tourism, education, healthcare, the creative industries, and community empowerment and governance restructuring. As we look at overhauling our education system, we have to note that our current system emphasizes rote learning and preparation for exams. This limits the development of critical thinking and entrepreneurial skills among our young people. To address this challenge, we must pursue curriculum reform, one that shifts the focus to creativity, problem solving, and the practical application of knowledge. We ought not to be teaching from the perspective of just allowing our students to pass an examination. We also deem it necessary to introduce programs that encourage the development of entrepreneurship and innovation skills at a very young age. Consideration must also be given to partnering with international educational institutions to bring global best practice to Tobago. The aim of these actions is to ensure our young people become creators and innovators, ready to compete on the global marketplace while harnessing their skills in sustainable development of Tobago. While Tobago is a rich cultural, or has rich cultural heritage, I should say, its potential as an economic engine is very much underutilized. To remedy this, we must capitalize on our unique cultural assets in a manner that allows us to generate foreign exchange and create jobs. Reimagining the tourism product as an industrialized offering that encourages long-stay tourists will ensure that we find a fit with small boutique accommodations that can be pursued at the community level. We will therefore not be at the mercy of trying to encourage large hotel resorts, which from an historic position has been a challenge for us and has not necessarily proven to be the best fit as we have gone ahead. We would also encourage, as we look at developing our industrialized form of tourism, especially from the community or the cultural industry's perspective, leveraging technologies to create digital products and services that would allow us to create virtual experiences and augmented experiences that allows our potential visitors to experience an immersive type engagement with the destination and its various festivals and events. A similar approach will be taken with our healthcare sector and education sector. As we focus on developing the cultural exports by developing and marketing Tobago music, art form, film, and other such products to international audiences, we would also look at engaging Tobago in a manner that allows it to promote the destination as a cultural tourism destination, taking advantage of our festivals, art exhibitions, and culinary experiences. We also need to give critical importance to the creation of an academy for the performing arts that will focus on establishing or enhancing the skills and marketability of our artists and cultural entrepreneurs. In fact, the aim of such an approach would be to ensure that these persons can pursue this avenue as a viable career and not just as a hobby. By capitalizing on these unique cultural assets, we believe that we can generate foreign exchange and create meaningful jobs. As we look at empowering our community-based organizations, we see this as vital to Tobago's economic resilience. We must therefore empower them to reduce the limits placed on grassroots initiatives. This means offering funding, training, support to grassroots organizations so that they can enhance their productive capacity, allowing them to drive localized economic initiatives and unleashing the entrepreneurial forces within our villages and communities. This approach of fostering a decentralized, resilient economy that empowers local communities can reduce our vulnerability to external shocks and create a thriving local economy. In restructuring our governance framework, we must transition to a more representative and accountable model. Hence, constitutional reform is a must. And I want to say, while most may have viewed the Prime Minister's call for national constitutional reform as a possible political ploy or political pandering, we in Tobago must seize the opportunity to make it work in our best interest. If we are to realize the autonomy that we have been struggling for so many years, we must implement reforms to ensure greater transparency, public participation, and responsiveness to community needs. We must empower local leaders and local communities to allow for more effective and inclusive decision-making, which is in the best interest of themselves, their communities, and by extension, the island and the nation. Using these aforementioned transformative changes, we can overcome the foreign exchange crisis and position Tobago as a dynamic, export-driven economy. Let me say that this plan is not a quick fix. It is, however, a blueprint for a sustainable, self-reliant future. Therefore, we must change our thinking from being a consumption-oriented economy to being a production-oriented economy. The idea, therefore, invites all stakeholders, government, private sector, civil society, and indeed every Tobagonian to embrace this mindset and join us in this ambitious journey to turn Tobago into an exporter of high-value goods and services and a net foreign exchange earner. I believe the time for action is now, and that our collective creativity and determination can help us to write the next chapter in Tobago's story, one of economic empowerment, cultural renaissance, and global leadership. I now open the floor for any questions anyone may have had regarding this particular presentation. Okay. If we are okay, then I want us to move along to the next topic area. I want us to now focus our attention on the agriculture sector in Tobago. And I want to call to the podium Ms. Stacey Herbert. Ms. Herbert, apart from being a very dedicated IDA member, is a Caribbean winemaker and
Thank you, Kay, for that warm introduction. I want to say good afternoon to the members of the viewing audience, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming today. Today I want to share with you some parts of the IDA's plan to revitalize Tobago's agriculture, forestry, and the fisheries sectors. Our goal today is to analyze the current state, to identify key challenges, and to propose actionable solutions to foster sustainable growth and integration. To start, let's look at the current state of agriculture in Tobago. According to the latest data from the Chief Secretary, agriculture contributes approximately 2% to the Tobago's economy. This is only a slight increase from previous years, where it hovered around 1%. However, when we scrutinize these figures more closely, we see a different picture. In 2022, the agricultural sector actually declined by 9.5%. Specific areas to look at include vegetable production, which declined by 30%, eggs by 30%, and livestock by 19%. These numbers tell us that despite the reported growth, our agricultural productivity is struggling. It further indicates that there is a disconnect between the reported data and the reality on the ground. And that is the first issue we must address, the lack of interconnectedness. One of the major challenges we face across Tobago and the Tobago House of Assembly is the lack of interconnectedness between sectors, and more so the agricultural sector and its relation to tourism, transportation, and the culinary sectors. Each of these sectors operates in isolation, and this undermines the potential for a cohesive and robust agricultural society. Imagine if our local produce was seamlessly integrated into our tourism offerings. Farm-to-table dining experiences, agricultural tours for visitors, and local produce featured in every restaurant. The synergy between these sectors could be transformative. Another critical issue is the lack of investment in post-harvest processing. Without proper processing facilities and the support to farmers, much of our agricultural produce spoils before it reaches the market. Therefore, investing in post-harvest infrastructure is essential to extend the shelf life of produce and to reduce wastage. Modern storage facilities and transportation systems can significantly reduce post-harvest losses and ensure that our agricultural products maintain their quality from farm to market. Let me share a story. Recently, a farmer shared how he had to throw away half of his crop because there were no facilities to process and store his produce, the excess. This story is echoed many times and with many other types of produce throughout communities. With better infrastructure, he could turn those extra pawpaw into jams, jellies, or dried snacks, creating value-added products that can be sold both locally and internationally. To truly modernize our agriculture, we need also to focus on technical independence and the training. Community-based leadership and access to modern agricultural techniques are crucial. The prevailing complaint of farmers, even today, is the issue of land tenure, and without it, they cannot adequately access resources for their expansion. Secure land tenure systems are necessary to encourage farmers to invest in their land. This would involve providing farmers with the training they need to adopt new technologies and practices, as well as ensuring they have long-term secure access to the lands that they farm. A key example is the story of the Palotuvere Village Council, which has developed a sustainable livelihood plan, including various innovative agro-processing and other sustainable opportunities that were generated from talking with their community. To support this and any other such communities, there's a possibility of upgrading community center kitchens to commercial facilities to assist agro-processors in meeting health and safety standards, ensuring that their products are market ready and compliant with international standards. The Pallitivere model can serve as an inspiration and a blueprint for other communities in Tobago. In our recent discussions with community entrepreneurs, one participant mentioned the importance of connecting vocational skills training with real-world opportunities. Many individuals are trained in agro-processing skills such as bread, cakes and pastry production, jams and jellies, upholstery, but they often struggle to find markets for their products. The THA must create a clear path from training to entrepreneurship, providing mentoring and market access to ensure that these skills translate into viable businesses. While it is commendable to boast of training large numbers of persons in the vocational skills area, it is equivalent of pouring water into a strainer if there is no intention added to move persons from skills to production and marketing. Let's consider Rainice. She completed a vocational skills course and she didn't have the tools and market opportunities for her furniture. With better support and market access, she could actually open her own upholstery service, creating jobs and contributing to the local economy. Another complaint we have heard from farmers is the outdated definition of a farmer. The THA has to redefine and expand the definition of farming to include innovative practices like crab farming. A participant shared an experience where they were denied farmer registration because crab farming was not recognized as real farming. Updating our policies to reflect modern agricultural practices will support the innovation and growth that we need in this sector. Can you imagine the potential if we officially recognized and supported these diverse farming practices? This could open up avenues for growth and sustainability in the sector. The role of community development cannot be overstated. By revitalizing community initiatives and ensuring that they are connected to broader economic goals, Tobago can create a more supportive environment for agricultural development. For example, transforming social programs like URP and the CPEP into productive agricultural programs could significantly boost the sector. Imagine if CPEP workers were engaged in productive farming activities, contributing to local food security and economic growth. Finally, the issue of export markets was highlighted. To be viable, our agricultural sector cannot focus solely on local demand. We must look at regional collaboration and identify high-demand products that can be marketed collectively. For instance, consolidating cassava production across the Caribbean to meet UK market demands can have add value. However, it is essential to invest in post-harvest processing to add value and ensure our products meet international standards. Can you picture a future where Tobago is known worldwide for its high-quality cassava products, contributing to the economy and creating jobs? Can you imagine that? Now, let's discuss our proposed solutions. First, we need to build interconnectedness between agriculture, tourism, and the transportation. Strategies such as farm tours and culinary tourism can create a symbiotic relationship that benefits all sectors. For example, farm-to-table dining experiences can attract tourists while providing a direct market for local farmers. Visitors can come to Tobago not just for the beaches, but also to experience our rich agricultural heritage. Empowering communities to take charge of agricultural development is another key solution. Community-led projects have proven successful in many regions, and we can replicate those models in Tobago. By forming cooperatives and community-based organizations, farmers can pool resources, share knowledge, and collectively market their products. And of course, the Paltavia Village Council is an example of what is possible. This community has developed a sustainable livelihood plan that includes various innovative agro-processing opportunities. These include wine and condiment production, bush tea production, heritage cuisine, and the production of pepper sauces and green seasonings. Their plan also emphasizes the possibility of upgrading community center kitchens to commercial facilities to assist agro-processors in meeting health and safety standards and ensuring that their products are market-ready and compliant. This model can serve as an inspiration and blueprint for other communities in Tobago. We must also embrace technology and innovation. Modern techniques such as AI, machine learning, and precision farming can significantly enhance productivity and sustainability. For example, using drones for crop monitoring can help farmers detect issues early and apply targeted treatments, thereby reducing costs and improving yields. Imagine our farmers using the latest technology to boost productivity and sustainability. Reforming land tenure systems to provide secure access to land is also crucial. We also need partnerships with an entity like a Tobago Development Bank to offer flexible financing options tailored to the needs of our farmers. This could involve low-interest loans, grants for new technologies, and support for young and beginning farmers. Imagine our farmers having financial support and land security to innovate and grow their businesses. In regions where agriculture is integrated with tourism and other sectors, we can see remarkable success. For example, let's talk about Napa Valley in California. They successfully combine wine production and tourism, creating a robust local economy. Visitors come for wine tours and tastings, providing a steady market for local vineyards. We also can achieve similar success by integrating our agricultural and tourism sectors. Even as we consider exporting, it is also important to address the challenges we face. For instance, the US has developed regulations on products containing some red food dyes due to concerns over ADHD and other factors. Ginger is also one of the products that is under scrutiny, which is concerning since a number of our traditional sweets and beverages use this spice. This requires us to obtain specific certifications, making our products more expensive and sometimes less competitive. These challenges highlight the need for careful consideration and planning when entering export markets. We may need to modify our products to meet international standards or seek alternative markets that are more accessible. To summarize, we've discussed the current state of agriculture in Tobago, we've identified the key challenges, and we've proposed comprehensive solutions. By focusing on interconnectedness, post-harvest processing, community-led initiatives, technology, and land reforms, we can revitalize Tobago's agricultural sector. Our proposed strategies aim to create a more integrated, sustainable, and prosperous agricultural economy. I now open the floor for your questions. Yes.
You just said that you wanted to use new technologies.
Yes. Well, of course, because we don't necessarily have a lot of the technology that we need, so we do need to export some of that in order for us to be able to do what we need to do. And that's why we have to always have our eyes and ears out for what is available. You're welcome. Any other questions? If there are no other questions, I want to thank you, and I want to hand you over to Dr. Angus, who will now come and present her area of expertise.
So let me thank Stacey Herbert and Kay Trotman, who went before me. Today's a ladies' day, but don't worry, the men soon come. Let me say a special good afternoon to all of those who are out there listening to us, viewing this press conference, and of course, ladies and gentlemen of the media, thank you so much for coming out today. We cannot ignore the widespread concerns about the recent actions taken by licensing officers and their impact on the daily lives of Tobagonians over this past week. While we would like to believe that they came to better our lives, we all know that saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And that's what we have been living in that experience this week. Over the past week, more than 25 licensing officers have been dispatched from Trinidad to Tobago. They have set up numerous roadblocks around the island, conducting rigorous inspections and issuing fines for what many of our residents continue to be considered to be minor infractions. We have received numerous complaints from trusting Tobagonians who are now frustrated and disheartened by these actions. They felt that while they could understand the initiative as one to fight crime, they feel betrayed by the minor technicalities amounting to large charges that many of them are now having to pay. Tobagonians have been reaching out to the IDA and telling us that they are being fined for minor issues such as a tear on the seat, a scratch on a door mirror, or variations in car paint color. One resident shared, "I was fined $450 because my windscreen had a small scratch and bubbles in the tint." Another person was fined $750 and given 2 demerit points for using a towel to block the sun from hitting the baby's face. No warnings, no willingness to teach. This level of enforcement is perceived as excessive and punitive. The fines, which have gotten up to $3,000 and more, are a significant burden on our people. One concerned resident asked, "Where are we supposed to find $3,000 to pay for tickets, fix the car, buy school books, and put food on the table in this guava season?" This sentiment reflects a widespread feeling of economic oppression and hardship among Tobagonians and may very well increase the petty crimes across the island. The constant fear of being penalized for minor issues is affecting the daily lives and mental well-being of our residents. As one resident said, taxis not running regular because they're frightened too. Buses unpredictable, it looked like they're even frightened too. And I can't get to work on time. I not even going and buy groceries, I might as well starve because I have no money to pay them for any charge. Another one said, we now scared to drive. This is not what fighting crime should look like. It feels more like a targeted economic strategy against us. Business people are crying out, saying it's the worst week their businesses have ever felt for a long time. And you know business was already bad. One man said, imagine I open up and it's $4 I make on Friday in my business because people are afraid to come out in their car and do their little shopping. These are the comments of the people of Tobago. The government should know that this approach is eroding the trust between the community and the authorities. Instead of fostering a cooperative relationship, it's creating an adversarial dynamic which is detrimental to the effective governance and crime fighting efforts. While the idea and the people understand that there must be an objective to this exercise, it really is mind-boggling how it is being executed. It is unacceptable to stop an ambulance with a critically ill patient en route to the hospital. If there were any disastrous outcomes with the patient, who taking responsibility? If this patient unfortunately meets their demise, who taking responsibility? Who is talking to the family? The THA and the TRHA must also take responsibility for the ambulances that seem to be not up to date on their inspections, thereby attracting a warning. With all of this, the IDA feels compelled to ask, is this initiative genuinely aimed at crime reduction and improving road safety? Or is it an economic strategy to address the country's financial struggles at the expense of Tobago's residents? The people want to know, what responsibility does the Prime Minister and his cabinet take for the pain unleashed on Tobago at this time? The IDA is calling on officials for a comprehensive report of this exercise to be submitted to the Tobago House of Assembly and, by extension, the people of Tobago. It must include a comparison of similar exercises done in Trinidad regarding how much time was spent in one area, the details of the offenses, quantum of tickets issued, and should also include a detailed explanation of the purpose and outcomes of these inspections, monetary and otherwise. It should report on what inefficiencies they have picked up in their system that indicates their failure to do their part. It cannot be just about blaming the people and charging them. The approach to governance must change from being punitive to understanding the challenges faced by individuals, especially regarding the inspection certification and the systemic inefficiencies to get it done. There must be an education and awareness program to support these measures. There must be a fair and compassionate approach to enforcement, focusing on car functionality and safety rather than superficial issues. The IDA stands firmly with the people of Tobago. We demand transparency, fairness, and a review of these punitive measures. We support the THA in its intention to do an investigation on the reported irregularities of these licensing issues and advise them to also investigate why the ambulances are on the road without appropriate certification. We urge Tobagonians to stay on the right side of the law. We urge the government to listen to the concerns of the people and to take actions that support rather than hinder the daily lives and well-being of Tobagonians. If not, a well-intentioned crime-fighting initiative can result in increasing crime because people feel forced to survive. So let me pause to take questions at this time before I move on.
What intervention, if any, that can be made from Tobago or Tobagonians against something like this?
I really don't know, you know. Maybe a protest? I don't know, because it is really, from what I am hearing, an undue stress on the people. I understand, I think one man got up to $8,000. I haven't been able to confirm that. At least we've confirmed the 3,000. But you ask yourself, somebody is getting all of these tickets all at once. They have to feed their families. School coming up, so they have to provide school books. Okay? They probably can't drive the car if they're driving taxi. They have to stop. They can't earn any money until they get the car back on the road. What are they to do? What are you telling them to do? Because people have to survive. What are you telling them to do? What are you driving them to do? We have to think clearly how we are approaching this. You can't approach it in a reactionary manner. You have to look at the whole picture. And if it is that you're picking up so many issues in the public domain, then that says something for your institution. It says that you are not handling your business adequately to deal with the population in Tobago.
And then even what about in terms of the MPs for Tobago and dealing on this matter? What are your views on that?
Well, they have been seems like we're dealing with silence of the lambs. I mean, I'm not hearing anything. I haven't heard anything from the minority leader either. Yes, supposedly this is a crime-fighting measure where they're stopping and searching people. But I think it has gone beyond that. With, you know, you looking in my car and telling me there's a tear on the seat and I'm getting a ticket for that, something is wrong with that. Not in this season where people are struggling to put food on the table. And I know working people with good jobs struggling to put food on the table. Okay? So any government who is going to condone these actions, the people have to think twice about them. We didn't put you there to suffer us.
Are you ready as the IDA? Because it said, to be honest, to get back on the protest, correct? Are you ready as an IDA to deal with such an action if Tobagonians are ready to do so?
If Tobagonians are ready, sure. Yeah? But we know people sometimes don't have the courage to step out and step up. And this is why I'm saying to the people of Tobago, this is Emancipation Day coming up. It is an opportunity for us to reflect on what our ancestors had to do to gain our freedom today. Your freedoms are being taken away from you. What are you prepared to do today to ensure that the lives of your future generations are better off tomorrow? It's a moment for us to reflect and to decide how we go forward, because everybody is suffering. They have hit us under the belt in terms of the whole private sector feeling this pain at this time. Okay, we can move on. And so we will now discuss a matter that affects every single one of us: the escalating crime in our nation. The Innovative Democratic Alliance believes that true solutions require more than cosmetic changes. They demand deep systemic reforms. Recently, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley appointed Keith Scotland as the junior minister in the Ministry of National Security. Many have sarcastically noted that Keith Scotland is not Scotland Yard, pointing out that this move does little to address the real issues at hand. The people of Trinidad and Tobago are not fooled by such political maneuvers. We need substantial action, not another game of musical chairs. Let's face the reality. Our citizens have lost trust in the police due to repeated betrayals, lack of protection, and political manipulation. There are further situations that contribute to this mistrust. Case in point, the recent arrest of the man who did not help the police officers to arrest someone. Put yourself in the man's shoes. He was probably thinking, what will happen to me and my family when I help lock up this man? Will a shot call from jail for me and my family? His decisions would most likely have been based on that kind of thinking. And instead of understanding the man's predicament and the environment in which we now live, which is a reflection of many citizens in this country, he was arrested. We are still waiting to hear what further training or equipment will be given to those two officers so they can adequately do their jobs the next time. The government to a piece of the puzzle. The call for communities to speak up is meaningless without ensuring their safety. People are saying they are tired of political administrations that offer everything during elections but deliver nothing afterward. The communities feel manipulated, victimized, and abandoned once votes are counted. This government must endeavor to find the root cause of crime at this time in our history. The youth on the blocks in Tobago are telling the IDA they need jobs. They need ways to feed their families and to have a good life. They feel the school system has failed them and they are left without hope after empty promises. In a nutshell, unemployment, inadequate education, and systemic neglect are some of the major issues fueling the crime epidemic. Getting into gangs is just part of the process. We must investigate why crime is rising and address these root causes comprehensively. Where is the trained policing unit dedicated to gathering and analyzing the reasons behind crime and tailoring solutions to address it. This has to be put in place urgently. It is an exercise in futility with a massive showing of power without any diagnostic or relevant prevention programs. Deploying police everywhere without understanding why crime is rising is a band-aid solution. You don't expect the doctor just to look at you, carry you in the operating room without running diagnostics or properly examining you, else it may be an unnecessary surgery or even resulting in the removal of normal body parts and the problem still ain't fixed. Similarly, what we need is a dedicated unit to investigate the root causes of crime at this time in our country. We need to be talking to the people on the blocks to find out why they are turning to a life of crime. And that is the work I expect this unit to be doing. Government needs to embrace the opportunity to partner with communities in a meaningful way and not just expect them to be informants. They are way more of an asset than that. Community with the right support to communities. Communities need resources to support youths at risk, to create jobs in communities and foster hope. Give them their own budgets to manage their unique needs effectively. With those resources, they can earlier have an intervention and more successful interventions at the community level. This is what the IDS supports. We support empowering communities with their own resources that will allow them to prioritize their needs, whether it be sporting fields, scholarships for talented youth, support for starting up local businesses, or maximizing their natural community assets to generate income. We agree with them, though, that monies cannot just be given without an appropriate legislative framework in place, a legal structure so they can pay and hold a small team accountable for managing their resources on the advice and consultation with the community. If this were in place, then the village council, the village of Lansomi could boast of still owning the Blue Food Festival. Hope would already have their lighted playing field to engage the youths at nights. And Plymouth would have an adult literacy and IT programs to make their residents feel marketable. This is crime prevention that begins at the community level. The authorities need to reach out to those who have turned away from crime and ask them to support an initiative to approach the youth in communities and tell them their stories. Those who they've gotten and who are willing to leave that life of crime must be provided with a guaranteed year of a stipend retooling exercise that includes life skills training and a job placement in their area of training for another year. This is a 2-year minimum transition process for them and should also be supported by mental health and psychological support. Research shows that tailored rehabilitation programs significantly reduce recidivism and help former offenders reintegrate into society. So why not apply it as an earlier intervention before these youth are convicted. For there to be a sustainable path away from crime into prosperity for our people, changes must be approached from the level of the Constitution. Government, the THA, and communities must work hand in hand. However, currently the communities feel they are disconnected from government, disconnected from representatives, and cannot provide meaningful solutions to problems they know would work, as they are closer to the problems on the ground than the government or the THA. The large executives that we have in governance does not facilitate non-executive members or non-cabinet members in Parliament such that they can effectively hold the executive to account through active oversight mechanisms and be there for predictable opportunities for bilateral discourse with communities. In conversing with communities, they want to be guaranteed a meaningful voice by the way of having an elected Senate that would answer to them and not to leaders of any party. They want them to ensure the equitable resource distribution across communities and between the islands. Only then they can be sure that the policies and laws truly reflect the needs of the people. Having a government and a THA where the people are cultivated to have a voice consistently will see a much more responsive people who are willing to collaborate and share on many issues, including crime. Remember, criminals are not born. They are made by the environment that shapes them. We need constitutional reform to deliver a government that listens to and empowers the people. In closing, we call for genuine solutions to crime that go beyond political rhetoric. We need comprehensive community engagement, understanding of root causes, preventative measures, and systemic reforms. It is time for the government to listen to the voices of the communities and work with us to create a safer, more just Trinidad and Tobago. We believe that with these changes, communities are better able to do crime prevention than any government ever has. Questions? Okay. All right, so we get to move on. Okay. As we refer to changing the Constitution, it is only fitting that I discuss those who laid the foundation for even our discussion today and honor the memory of those who have paved the way for our present and our future. It is with heavy hearts and thoughtful minds that we in the IDA reflect on the events of July 25th, the Remembrance Day of the 1990 coup, where we observed a disheartening absence of elected officials and even school children at the commemoration activities. This absence signifies a deeper issue that we must address: the need to pay respect to those who laid down their lives for a better tomorrow for this island. The 1990 coup was a pivotal moment in our nation's history. It was a time of fear and uncertainty, but also a time of bravery and sacrifice. Those who lived through it, those who fought, and those who perished must never be forgotten. It is our duty to ensure that future generations understand the gravity of those events and the sacrifices made. let me take a moment to commend the dedication of one man, Wendell Eversley, who for 34 years has continued to fly the flag on July 25th annually, oftentimes with only Ellis Robinson, nephew of A.N.R. Robinson, a few friends, and the media. He walks from Crown Point to Scarborough Methodist Church, paying tribute to the victims and those who lost their lives in the coup at the gravesite of A.N.R. Robinson. Thank you, Mr. Eversley, for your service. And we hope that at the 35th anniversary, we will see more elected officials, schools, and the public present. Let me assure you that we will be there. As the former presiding officer of the Tobago House of Assembly, I met and continued on an established legacy to host the A&R lecture series, where the speakers chosen delved into the various aspects of politics, our lives, and livelihoods in Tobago. In the last year I was there, we expanded the initiative to include hosting of 2 such lectures. They were held at the Anne Mitchell Gift Auditorium, featuring speakers Dr. Rita Pemberton and Ho Choi Charles. May his soul rest in peace. The last event took place in 2018 and focused on various aspects of Tobago's political landscape and historical challenges, emphasizing the legacy of A.N.R. Robinson and the ongoing struggle for Tobago's autonomy. Additionally, the second lecture series was launched as a junior lecture series, including the session for younger audiences. This session was delivered by Dexter Wilson, the then CARICOM ambassador, who provided insights from a youth leader's perspective. This initiative aimed to engage and educate younger Tobagonians on the importance of their political history and the contributions of key figures like A.N.R. Robinson. Those lectures have now disappeared from our existence. 2019 to 2024, nothing. What is a Tobago-centric curriculum if our leaders do not see it fit to appropriately commemorate the work of those who preceded us? It is short-sighted to overlook the lives of those who have shaped our path. Yes, we have spaces and buildings named after them. James Park, A.N.R. Robinson Airport. But intentional moments of remembrance are crucial. Are we truly celebrating their lives lived, or are we merely paying lip service to their existence? Are we hitting or missing the mark in celebrating our heroes? The absence of our leaders and the young minds at such significant commemorations is a glaring miss. It reflects a lack of appreciation and understanding of the sacrifices made for our autonomy and freedom. As we approach Emancipation Day, in addition to reflecting on our distant past, our recent past is also critical in helping us define the present-day meaning of what it means to be an emancipated people in the 21st century. We must not let the dedication of those heroes fade into obscurity. Instead, we should make intentional efforts to honor and learn from them. I am pleased to announce the IDA's initiative to host the Heroes of Autonomy Day on January 7th, beginning in 2025. commemorating the death anniversary of APT James, a major hero in our fight for autonomy. This day will not just be a tribute, but a celebration of the lives of those who have gone before us and those who continue to inspire us. This intentional celebration will serve to remind Tobagonians of the character of these individuals and what it took for us to have what we have today. It will also highlight what it will take for us to achieve the next level of our autonomy, contributing to and finally being recognized as half of the nation. The idea will shortly commence honoring heroes who have passed on and acknowledging those who are alive. We will set up a committee to select and honor these heroes, ensuring that their legacies are preserved and celebrated. Let us commit ourselves to remembering and honoring our heroes, not just in name, but in action. Let us educate our youth, engage our communities, and ensure that the sacrifices of our forebearers are never forgotten. Together we can build a future that respects the past and looks forward with hope and determination. Let me take this opportunity to wish Tobago and the country happy Emancipation Day, and to all of you out there. Thank you. Any questions? No? So thank you again to all of those viewing out there. Thank you again to members of the media. And I return you now to Ms. Kay Troutman, who would share with you on the ideas, plans, and the way forward.
Thank you very much, Dr. Angus. Before we leave you today, I want to take this opportunity to share with you what the IDA has been doing in terms of its community outreach and social intervention, and what is next on the agenda for the IDA in this area. On June the 30th, we held our inaugural Men Can Cook initiative at the Gardenside Car Park. This cookout activity was a fundraiser to ensure that we could address some of the specific needs and specific requests of some of the vulnerable individuals within our community. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all who contributed to making sure the execution of this initiative was a success. It is your support that has allowed us to, at least in this initial running of the activity, to meet the needs of 2 vulnerable individuals within our society. We will, at a later date, be presenting those 2 individuals, one with a walker that we have here before you, and a wheelchair to assist them with their mobility issues. We will be continuing in like vein to do such. And it is in that spirit that our next cookout activity, which we have carded for the 28th of August, a curricue, will be done to ensure that we can continue to meet some of those specific requests that we have been getting. I also want to take this opportunity to recognize the efforts of the Tobago community and the outpouring of support shown for our Caribbean neighbors who were impacted by the recent passing of the tropical storm Beryl. It was truly inspiring and heartwarming to see that in such a short time frame, concerned citizens were able to mobilize much needed resources so that we can lend assistance to those beyond our shores. Truly a commendable effort. But let me say to us all that there are fellow Tobagonians in our midst, fellow community brethren right now who are facing dire need. And just as we witness the kind of support and outpouring for those beyond our shores, I want to say, as the adage states, charity begins at home and it ends abroad. And while we have witnessed the scope and depth of our charity that has gone abroad to the giving support to the casualties of Beryl, we must now strengthen our charity to provide the kind of support that is also needed by fellow countrymen who are having a difficult time making ends meet. It is therefore, in light of this, that the idea calls on Tobagonians, individuals, businesses, corporate organizations, faith-based organizations, community-based organizations, NGOs, to open up your bosom of charity and to give assistance and support to the vulnerable in our midst. Towards this end, and through the IDA's Paid Forward Care Initiative, we will be accepting contributions in the form of both cash and kind to support some of the specific requests that have been made by our vulnerable members of society. We will take support in the area of food. We will take in the area of household items, clothing, book supplies. We will even take in the form of service that can be rendered to persons, whether grooming, care for our senior citizens, barbering service to our school children, school boys especially, going back forward to the school term, even to the extent of construction items. Do you believe that even in this day and age, there are members of our society without appropriate toilet facilities and other human hygiene type facilities? So we can take a block or two, a door, a window. We would even take your service as a carpenter, a mason, to help us, especially our single mothers who are out there, and abused women who are finding it difficult to find alternative places to go to and to be rescued from the situation they are in. For more details, I am encouraging you to call into our office. Call our number at 378-2967 to say how you can assist in meeting the needs of some of our vulnerable individuals in and among us. I am reminded that I must give special thanks to those sponsors who indeed made our IDA Men Can Cook a successful venture. And so I take that opportunity, without identifying them by name, to say a heartfelt thank you. And I dare say we look forward to continued partnership in areas like this. Dr. Angus spoke about the hardship that folks are experiencing, and that even in the midst of what is happening with the licensing roadblock, it continues to make it even more difficult. Let us reach out and assist one another in making sure we can ride through these difficult times. Another area that I would like to share on in terms of what is on the agenda for the IDA is our upcoming anniversary. And as in usual form, people tend to have wanton celebrations on anniversary dates. The IDA has taken the decision that in celebrating our upcoming 3rd anniversary, we will be joining with the community and persons in the community in celebrating and fellowshipping with them at their various places of worship, their various houses of worship, and working with them as they address some of the needs within their community as it relates to crime, as it relates to the vulnerable in their midst. However it is we can be of support and service in a humanitarian way, we will be doing that outreach. And as I leave, I want to implore us that we need to do more than just say we feel it for the vulnerable among us. We must be engaged in meaningful activities that meet them at their point of need. If there are no questions, I would like to say thank you to the media for being here with us, and we look forward to you joining us on another occasion in our IDA presser. To those viewing, I say thank you for viewing and good evening.